In August 1972, Ugandan President Idi Amin announced one of the most dramatic expulsions of a civilian population in modern African history. Nearly 60,000, 80,000 Asians, many of them of Indian and Pakistani ancestry, were ordered to leave Uganda within 90 days. Many had lived in Uganda for generations. They owned factories, shops, farms, and businesses that formed an important part of the country's economy. Why did Amin make this decision? Was it driven by economics, politics, nationalism, or personal ambition? This is the story of the 1972 expulsion, its origins, execution, and lasting consequences for Uganda and the world. To understand the expulsion, we must go back to the late 19th century. When Britain established colonial control over East Africa, it needed workers to build the Uganda Railway. Beginning in the 1890s, thousands of laborers from British India were recruited to East Africa. Many returned after construction ended, others stayed. Over time, they established businesses across Uganda. By independence in 1962, Asians made up less than 1% of Uganda's population, but played a major role in commerce, manufacturing, wholesale trade, and banking. Their economic prominence, combined with colonial-era inequalities, contributed to resentment among some Ugandans, though many Asians were also Ugandan citizens and had deep roots in the country. Idi Amin rose through the colonial military and later the Ugandan army. In January 1971, while President Milton Obote was abroad, Amin seized power in a military coup. Initially, many Ugandans and foreign governments welcomed the change. However, Amin's rule soon became increasingly authoritarian. Political repression intensified. Opponents were imprisoned, disappeared, or killed. His government also sought to reshape Uganda's economy through what Amin called an economic war. On August 4, 1972, Amin announced that Asians who were not Ugandan citizens had 90 days to leave the country. He claimed that foreign Asians controlled too much of the economy and that wealth should be transferred to indigenous Ugandans. The policy was later expanded, affecting many people regardless of their long-standing ties to Uganda. Some who held Ugandan citizenship also faced pressure, legal disputes, or expulsion. Families were forced to sell or abandon homes, factories, and businesses. Many were permitted to take only limited personal belongings. The decision created fear and uncertainty across the country. Historians point to several overlapping reasons. Economic nationalism. Amin argued that Ugandans should control more of their own economy. Political support, redistributing businesses and property, helped reward supporters of the regime. Colonial legacy, British colonial policies had often placed different communities in distinct economic roles, creating long-term tensions that Amin exploited for political purposes. International politics. The expulsion also fit Amin's broader effort to project himself as an anti-colonial leader, even as his government became increasingly isolated. Most historians view the decision as driven by a combination of political calculation, economic nationalism, and authoritarian rule rather than by a single cause. The human cost was immense. Families left behind homes, businesses, schools, and lifelong friendships. Many refugees were accepted by countries including the United Kingdom, Canada, India, Pakistan, Kenya, the United States. Despite arriving with few possessions, many rebuilt successful lives. Ugandan Asian communities later became prominent in business, medicine, education, engineering, and public service in their new countries. Meanwhile, Uganda faced major economic challenges. Many businesses transferred during the expulsion struggled because experienced managers and supply networks had disappeared. Production declined in several sectors, shortages increased, and investor confidence weakened. While Uganda's economy faced multiple problems during Amin's rule, many economists identify the expulsion as one factor that contributed to the country's economic decline in the 1970s. By the late 1970s, Amin's government faced growing opposition. In 1978, Ugandan forces invaded part of Tanzania. Tanzania, together with Ugandan exile groups, launched a counteroffensive. In April 1979, Kampala fell. Amin fled Uganda, first to Libya and later to Saudi Arabia, where he lived in exile until his death in 2003. The expulsion of Uganda's Asians remains one of the most significant episodes in East African history. It transformed Uganda's economy, dispersed tens of thousands of people across the world, and reshaped the country's international reputation. In later decades, successive Ugandan governments encouraged many expelled families and their descendants to return or reclaim property, recognizing the important role they had played in the country's development. Today, the story serves as a reminder of how political decisions can have profound economic and human consequences, and how communities can rebuild after displacement. If you enjoyed this historical documentary, please like, subscribe, and share. Let us know in the comments what historical event you'd like to see covered next. Thank you for watching.